In every day, there are 1440 minutes. That means we have 1440 daily opportunities to make a positive impact. Today, a day added in our book to create impact. Good morning and hearty welcome you all for the fourth day of faculty development program on the topic attainment of outcome. Being beautiful is being simple. Such a simple and impact creator who always encouraged the SNMV family. I would like to call Dr. B. Subramani Principal, SNMV Cash will preside and felicitate the gathering.
Yeah, thank you, Yagal. Very good morning,
Thank you, sir.
one and all present in this connect. On behalf of all, I welcome our guest for the day, Dr.K.Sumathi Madam, Professor and Head, Department of Mathematics, PSGR Krishnammal College. And we have been doing this process for fourth day. Continuously, we are updating ourselves in all the different topics. And the main theme is to make OBE thorough. Whatever the academic related doubts regarding NAAC or OBE or AQAR, our madam is always there to help us at any point of time, and her kindness, helping tendency, knowledge sharing, and that is also supporting us to excel in our all the process. So we thank you very much, madam, for your kindness and support throughout our academic process. And I congratulate the IQAC team having such very good session, continuous series of lectures. Even though in spite of this pandemic situation, we are all joined together. That is a great thing. I congratulate the IQAC members and the technical team members for their wonderful support. We are doing it for continuously for the 7 days program. With Almighty, I would like to register one point here, one quote for thought for the day. Distance doesn't matter when roots of our relationships are strong. Distance doesn't matter when roots of our relationships are strong. Day before yesterday, due to Nivar cyclone, the entire institutions were closed, but all the members are in their respective place and they were attending the continuous process 7 days FDP, so that the technology helps us to join together. So whatever the distance, our relationships are strong means we are all very close. So with this, I'll conclude. And madam, we are looking for we are very eager to hear from you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for the nice introduction.
Ma'am, welcome all experiences. You never know which one is going to turn everything on. I would like to call Dr. B. Chitra, Head Department of Computer Technology, SNMV Cash, to deliver welcome address.
Happy morning, one and all. If the sign on your heart says welcome, the love will come pouring in from everywhere. I would like to welcome our management members in their absence, who has been always the backbone for organizing and granting such informative programs. I deem it my pleasure to extend my heartfelt wishes on behalf of IQAC Cell and SNMB College of Arts and Science for today's faculty development program. The medical teacher tells, the good teacher explains, the superior teacher demonstrates, the great teacher inspires. We are very proud to have such a great teacher as our resource person today, Dr. K.Sumathi, Associate Professor and Head, Department of Mathematics, PSGR Krishnammal College for Women. Welcome you, ma'am. If your action inspires others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. And he is a beloved principal, Dr. B. Subramani. Welcome you, sir. It's my gratitude to welcome our Dean, Dr. Manjula Suresh, and our Director, MBA, Dr. Krishnammal. Welcome you, ma'am and sir. I wish to extend my welcome to our technical team of SNMV CAS. The more we feel concern for others and seek their well-being, the more friends we will feel we have and the more welcome we will feel. Let me welcome the various heads of the departments and staff fraternity for this fourth day FTP session. Finally, I also take my time in congratulating IQAC cell, criterion managers and the professors from various colleges to add knowledge on NAC and AQAR. Thank you all. Have a great day ahead.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm pleased to introduce today's guest, Dr.K.Sumathi, Associate Professor and Head Department of Mathematics, PSGR Krishnammal College for Women. She has been expertise in applied math, fluid dynamics, stability theory, and thermodynamics. She's having a vast experience in academics and research. All our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them. The secret of getting ahead is getting started. As I mentioned above, today's guest, Dr. K. Sumathi ma'am's specialized knowledge and technique will motivate us to pursue our dream as one of the best academicians. I would like to invite Dr. K. Sumathi ma'am to address the gathering on the topic attainment of outcome. Ma'am, forum is yours.
I thank the organizers for having given me this opportunity to be with you. It has been my pleasure to be associated with SNMB in so many ways. And my sincere thanks to the principal, management, and the internal quality assurance cell, and in particular, Dr. Gaunti, for having invited me for sharing my thoughts over this PO/CO mapping and course outcome attainments. Once again. For the past 3 days, you must be having discussions over outcome-based education. Just let me refresh few keywords relating outcome-based education: graduate attributes, vision and mission, program criteria, then program educational objectives, program outcome, and course objectives or outcomes, and COPO mapping and how to create a course matrix. And after this course matrix is created, how this program curriculum will be framed and how do we go for our assessment and how we are going to close the loop. To quote Tucker, outcomes-based education is a process that involves the restructuring of curriculum, assessment, and reporting practices in education to reflect the achievement of high-order learning and mastery rather than the accumulation of course credits. And why do we need this outcome-based accreditation? Because the globalization has brought in a clear shift from education as transmission of expert knowledge to education as building learner competencies, including learning to learn and lifelong learning. This means focus will have to be on understanding fundamentals very well and learning new skills, competencies that would enable individuals to cope with the demands of the rapidly changing workplace. And originally, this outcome-based education, it was introduced to prepare these students to be a global engineers, which will have to solve problems and shoulder challenges which are not even known today. And now it has been extended to arts and science colleges also. Hence, in the accreditation criteria, we will be looking into the contribution of all these aspects: vision, mission, and PEOs, program outcomes, program curriculum, student performance, faculty contributions, and facilities and technical support. And we will be looking into the governance and institutional support and financial resources, which will be helping the institution with continuous improvement, and what are all the academic support that can be given as teaching and learning process. Hence, in outcome-based education, the education will be looking at what the student should be able to do, what are the attributes the student should have. And the curriculum and learning and teaching process, it will be concentrating on how to make the student achieve the outcome and how to measure what the student has. And then finally, we'll be going in for outcome-based assessment. So in OBE, this learning experience is at the center. So creating an enjoyable learning experience for the learners, that lies in the center of the outcome-based education. In other words, students should be placed first in our design of the learning outcomes and assessment tasks and teaching and learning activities. It is totally student-centered. And for that, we frame intended learning outcomes, and based on that, we will be devising our learning activities, and based on that, we will be going in for our assessment. And this is a cyclic process. Hence, in the OBE framework, the outcomes, that institution-wise mission and vision we will be having, and then we will be formulating what will be the PEO. Then we will be going in for what is the required program objective or outcome, and then we will be going in for course outcome. And we will be planning the course to include the syllabus, teaching methods, and learning activities. And this will be assessed. So we will be going in for course assessment. Once the course assessment is done, then we will be assessed how far this program is successful and in what way it is contributing to the successful of the institution. And depending upon the attainment, then we will be making improvements, and they will be going and modifying our mission vision statement, PEO, PO, CO. And accordingly, we will be again changing our syllabus, teaching methods, learning activities. And then we will check whether the course attainment has been completed and whether it is contributing to the program attainment and whether it is going to help the institutional development, and if is any scope for the improvement, and based on that, again we will be going to square one. Hence, this industry and we will be getting inputs from industries and professionals and other organizations also in this process. Hence, it is a cyclic process. It is not a one-way traffic like the traditional education. Hence, OBE starts with a very clear statement on what knowledge, skills, and attitudes the graduate student will be able to demonstrate as having acquired on successful completion of a degree program of study, whether it is engineering or it is arts and science stream or it is a commerce stream or any other business administration or any other stream. So these are stated as program outcomes and course outcomes, and these are highly related with the vision, mission, and PEO statements and graduate attributes as stated in Washington Accord. And next step of OBE is designing appropriate outcome-based curriculum. So you have to carefully plan teaching and learning process, and that has to be put in the next place. And then comes suitable assessment methods and tools, and they are to be used at appropriate times involving the concerned stakeholders to monitor and improve teaching learning on a continuous basis. So what are the graduate attributes? It is some quality. It is a qualitative parameter, something which we are expecting our graduates to possess throughout their lifetime and in their career. What are the attributes they have to project on behalf of the institution from the learning they have acquired from the institution. So graduate attributes are a set of generic knowledge, skills and attitudes considered essential for all graduates of the 21st century. All graduates are expected to demonstrate these attributes on completion of their degrees. And institutions who can ensure these attributes in their fresh graduates, they will get accredited by the accrediting agencies. And also, it provides the means for establishing substantial equivalence of degrees. Some of the graduate attributes are: the graduate must be able to work in team. At the same time, he or she must be able to be a project leader also. She or he must have some ethical values. So it is a blend of all combinations of requirements of the society and the corporate world. So when I have decided how my graduates should go about into the society or into the corporate world, then I will have a vision and mission statement for my institution. And these vision and mission statements are statements that help in defining aspirations and to remain focused. And whenever you are deciding on your vision and mission statement of the institution, I see most of them we are referring Harvard, Cambridge, or in local Delhi IIT or IIT, and we will be rephrasing these statements of vision and mission. And that should not be the case. When you are working for the institution, you will be knowing what are the pros and cons in your institution, and you will be knowing who will be coming into your attitudes or positive qualities of your students, what will be your student input, whether there will be highly creamy layer, or whether they will be economically very high, or whether they are going to be economically lower bound. So all those things you will be just looking into, and depending upon your institution's needs, you should think of ahead for 20 years. After 20 years, where my institution is going to be and how it is going to be projected. Do I want my institution to be the top institution at the national level, or do I want my institution to be the top institution at the Coimbatore level, or whether I am going to have my institution to be top at the global level? So that sort of vision is required. And that sort of vision, the long-term objective or long-term goal for nearly 20 years, within after 20 years, my institution is going to be like this. That will be stated as the vision statement, and by which means you are going to achieve that vision, that will be given in your mission statement. So the vision and mission statement, it has to be clearly stated and it has to remain focused. It is not just a statement which is a requirement for the accreditation process. So when you go for vision and mission statement, if you take that just in pen and paper, there is no point in having a vision and mission statement for your institution. Instead, if you are going to form a vision and mission statement in principle, and if you are going to practice that, then your mission and vision statements, they will work miracles in your individual career as well as in your institutional career. Therefore, vision and mission statements, once again I am reiterating, it has to remain focused and it should define aspirations. And even you can have a vision and mission at the individual level. As an individual, as a faculty member, what is my vision? Where I want to go after 20 years of my service? How I want to be looked at? And for that level, what are the small steps I will be taking up? What will be my mission? What will be my processing procedure for the next 3 years? And after 3 years, what I am going to adopt? So vision and mission statement are totally important and you cannot do away with it. And it has to be again and again, I'm repeating, it has to be in principles and practice, and it should never be in just paper and pen. And when you have decided what is your vision and mission, you have to write that in a very simple language, which is easy to communicate and which should define objectives which present near future of the institute. And vision statement is dream of where one wants the institute to be and inspires all the stakeholders. And mission statements are actionable statements that guide the stakeholders to act. So how I have to formulate this vision and mission statements? You can have always a bottoms-up approach. You can start with your students. You can involve all the stakeholders, parents, alumni, management, academicians, and industry people. You can involve all these stakeholders. You can have a lot of discussions and brainstorming. And this brainstorming is, again, it is a managerial word. We normally don't do brainstorming sessions where now the discussion forums and brainstorming sessions, they are very important in the formulation of vision and mission statements. And always you have to make a SWOT analysis. What are all the opportunities, what are all the threats, what are all the strengths, and what are all the weaknesses of the institution, and what are all these SWOT analysis at the faculty level. You have to make a SWOT analysis at the student level, and what will be our in the society, what will be the expectation and how far we can meet the expectations of the society and the corporate world. So all these gap analysis or SWOT analysis has to be made. And what are the challenges before the institute? That has also be taken into account when you are formulating a vision and a mission statement. What was my vision last year? That cannot be my vision this year. Because now I'm facing with the challenge of no physical communication with my students. And there is a COVID situation. It is, I'm again saying, it is not a handicap, it is a challenge. Because when I cannot reach few students physically, I can reach hundreds and thousands of students globally. And this is a challenge before my institute. And what am I going to do? So what was my vision last year, it will not be the vision this year. My vision may get changed as per the change in the situation. Hence, what are the immediate and what are the long-term goals? And we will be evolving a vision and mission statements based on these discussions. And then we'll have to go for a strategic plan. Again, just mere vision and mission statement will not take an individual or the institute or your students to the desired level. So you have to formulate a strategic plan. Okay, after 1 year, what will be done? After 2 years, what are the things to be done? So I want to have a strategic plan regarding all the spheres. So I will just give you an example. Vision is a futuristic statement that the institution would like to achieve over a long period of time, and mission is the means by which it proposes to move toward the stated vision. So I have given you an example taken from some of the foreign universities to emerge as one of the nation's finest institutions in the field of technical education and research through focused, effective, and sustained monitoring of its programs and resources. And how they are going to do? They are going to develop high quality professionals ingrained in ethics, wisdom, and creativity for the betterment of the society. So when I told you even individuals can have vision and mission statement, why not departments? So departments of each institution can have their own vision and mission in alignment with the institution's vision and mission. A department cannot have a vision statement or a mission statement which is too far away from the vision and mission of the institution. So what is the institution's vision? What is the institution's mission? In alignment with that, every department can have a vision and mission statement of its own. So again, an example, since this OBE was introduced for the engineering graduates, I have taken a vision from an engineering department This vision states to be an excellent center for imparting quality higher education in civil engineering for a constantly changing societal needs with credibility, integrity, and ethical standards. And what is their mission? They will accomplish excellence in curricular, co-curricular activities with a committed faculty through teaching and research, which creates technically competent and dedicated civil engineers to serve their surroundings with pride. So once I have decided what is the vision and mission, I would like to go for one program educational objective. Again, it is a quality parameter. The educational objective of a degree program are the statements that describe the expected achievements of graduates in their career, and also in particular what the graduates are expected to perform and achieve during the first few years after graduation. So when I talk about a program educational objective, in the traditional education, once my student has received the degree at the end of the third year or the fourth year, she or he will leave my institution with a diploma in her or his hand. Once she or he has gone out of my institution, I may not be looking back at my student, how he is doing, whether he is doing well in the society, whether he is accommodative in the corporate world, that I will not worry. I will not even know whether he is employed or not. If my student has secured employment at the third year in the campus interview, then I may be having a record that he has got 2 offer letters. But whether he has joined in the job, I will not know. And whether he could be able to contribute something to the job, I do not know. So in the traditional education, I do not follow up my student. Whereas in this outcome-based education, I'll be following up my student at least for 3 more years if he or she is going to study in my college for 3 years. So for the first few years after graduation, how well my graduate is performing and whether she or he has achieved something. And if they are not accommodative, if they cannot work in teams, then something is wrong with my curriculum. If she and he can do only clerical jobs and she cannot take up leadership positions in the corporate world, then something is wrong with my curriculum. So I have to modify my curriculum accordingly. Or on the other hand, if my student is very skilled and she or he can be very creative, then I know my curriculum is good. It is very suitable. So as of now, my curriculum is good. So keeping the good qualities in my curriculum, can I make an improvement? So whether your student is doing extremely well or whether your student is not doing well, in both ways, there will be a contribution from the performance of your student where you will be modifying your educational objectives and POs and COs and your curriculum, teaching, learning methodology and your assessment, everything will get changed. So every year, every second, you will be looking at your student, how well she is doing, whether she is doing well in my class, that is not at all important now, whether she is doing well in the outside world, even after graduation, that also matters to me in the outcome-based education. So these PEOs, they may be guided by the global and local needs, vision of the institution, long-term goals, etc. So for defining the PEOs, the faculty members of the program, they must continuously work with all. That is most important. Most of the time I see the syllabus. When I look into the syllabus of many of the colleges, if they are very new to the outcome-based education, just the template is being changed. No change in the curriculum. Why they do not make any change in the curriculum? Because they have not understood what is the PEO, what is PO, what is CO. Once if they have understood what it is, it will not be just placing the curriculum into a new template. So just for placing the curriculum into a new template, why a faculty member is needed, why a board of studies is needed, why there should be an academic council which will be passing this. So all these are involving the expert knowledge of faculty members. If I just want the traditional education to be replaced just by a template, then just a clerk will do, or a typist person will do, even a student can fit it up. So when a faculty member, a team of faculty members are involved, I want them to understand what is the program educational objective, what is the PO, what is the CO, and how these can be kept on improving. Hence, the responsibility of the faculty members of the program that becomes manifold. If you are not responsible, then the sufferer will be your students. And when you are letting your students to suffer, there will not be any intake for your institution in this competitive world. And in future, we'll have to go jobless, and it again is a cyclic process. So when an institution has to do very well, then it has to be worrying about its students even after graduation, for the at least for the first few years after graduation. Hence, the faculty members of the program, they cannot just sit still. Like in the traditional case, in the traditional education, once the syllabus is formed, then I'm very happy. I have completed my syllabus task. Okay, but in my department, I'm having 12 members. So each member, I will just give one paper, I will just form them to check the syllabus. And afterwards, what I will do, I'll just put it in a folder, and that will be kept in the BOS, then that is over. No. Now, in the outcome-based education, each and every year you may have to modify your syllabus based on your students' performance. Hence, the faculty members of the program, they must continuously work with all, and they have to take it very seriously. So what was the syllabus in the last year that cannot be kept for the syllabus in this year? Last year, syllabus may not include a machine learning or artificial intelligence or augmented reality or a virtual reality in a zoology department or a history department. But today, because of this COVID situation and the online learning, and everywhere you have to go for your augmented learning, you have to go for your augmented reality, virtual reality, everything has to be incorporated into history, be it geography, be it mathematics, physics, chemistry. It is not that only computer science students will be learning the augmented reality or the virtual reality or the machine learning, but everybody, including commerce and business administrative members, everybody has to learn these things, and they have to incorporate into your syllabus. Hence, redefining of the PEOs, the faculty members of the program must continuously work with all, and the stakeholders, local employers, industry, students, and the alumni, they have to be in consultation continuously. And it is not that for every year I will be conducting a meeting for the alumni, but instead I have to go for a regular touch with all my alumni for at least few years. So few samples I have given for PUs. Graduate will compete on a global platform to pursue their professional career in electrical engineering and allied disciplines. Graduates will pursue higher education or engage in continuous upgradation of their professional skills. And my PO3 graduate will communicate effectively and will demonstrate professional behavior while working in diversity. So for this process, you will have to have a feedback format for collecting data from stakeholders, a process by which PUs are created and reviewed periodically, and you must devise a process to evaluate to what extent PUs are attained, and review, mid-correction, and continuous quality improvement is also required. Now I'll come back to these program outcomes. The program outcomes are statements about the knowledge, skills, and attitudes the graduate of a formal degree program should have. And everybody should realize that they are the central organizing feature of student learning. Then profile of these student graduates, they are reached through POs, that is targets will be set by your program outcomes. And there are few definitions of these POs defined by few of the accreditation agencies of the country, in particular with NBA. And what are these characteristics of program outcome? To effectively define your PO statement, check them whether they satisfy following characteristics. It must define the scope and depth of the program, and it should focus on the end point of the program. And we have to identify what typically students will know and be able to do on graduation. And this PO, it should be measurable, realistic, and achievable within the context and time frame. It must be realized through component courses over the extent of the program, and they should be demonstrated through course assessment, particularly in final year courses and especially through capstones. So I will give you an example of the program outcomes defined by the National Board of Accreditation, the NBA. Since it is a board for accrediting the engineering colleges, they have given 12 POs, which include the engineering knowledge. Whether the application of the knowledge of mathematics, science, engineering fundamentals, and an engineering specialization to the solution of complex engineering programs. Then the program outcome must be, the graduate must be able to analyze the problem, identify, formulate, review research literature, and analyze complex engineering problems, reaching substantiated conclusions using first principles of mathematics, natural sciences, and engineering sciences. And he must be able to design and develop solutions, conduct investigations of complex problems, and the graduate, engineering graduate for this particular PO, he must be able to use modern tools, create, select, and apply appropriate techniques, resources, and modern engineering and IT tools, including prediction and modeling to complex engineering activities, with an understanding of the limitations, and how well he will be fitted into the society, and how he can contribute to the environment, and whether he is having ethics.
Ma'am, now it's clear, ma'am.
The graduate is able to involve himself in teamwork, and he must have an excellent communication skill, and he must be a able project management leader, and he should be involving himself into lifelong learning. So when these 12 qualities are defined as POs by NBA, we have got a question. Are they anything something new? Lifelong learning, self-learning, communication skills, or they are incorporated only here in the outcome-based education? I would like to give you some examples. You just see this Hanuman. He has got the most beautiful communication skill. Just one line. Kandin Karpinikani Kangalal. This is what he has said when he met Rama after meeting Sita from Sri Lanka. The immediate question he has answered was whether I have seen the Sita or not. He started with that answer. Yes, I saw. And how she is. She is okay. She is still in a chastity woman. She is a good woman, or she has gone out of her way to please Ravana. That will be the question asked by the Rama. So he has said Karpini Kani. Then the third question is whether it is the answer given by you or whether you have heard it. Have you seen her by your own eyes? That will be the next question that Rama would have had. Then he says, yes, Kangalal, of my own eyes. So, Kandin Karpinikani Kangala. Just in one line, he has given the entire answer. That is the best communication skill. And self-learning, Ekalaiva. You know, all of you, how the Ekalaivan learnt on his own, keeping Dronacharya's statue in front of him, and he has learned on his own. So, self-learning is not new to our society or to the human mankind. Communication skills are not new to the our society or somewhere. And what about lifelong learning? Avaya. You just think of Avaya at the age, very, very old lady. She has given lot of literary works as she has done. Tamil she was telling Palum Teridinum, Pahum Parupum Idainandum, Nanunakku Taruven, Sangattamil Mundum Nee Enakutta. I will give you 4 things. 4 delicious things, and please give me 3 Tamil. So that is the expectation, and after doing so many literary works, Avaya is longing to learn more. And I will give you another example for lifelong learning. Abdul Kalam, everyone's inspiration. And Abdul Kalam, even as a president of India, he used to learn Veena. And there are different learning styles in our students. There are advanced learners and slow learners, and there are always ethical requirements. See, again, I want to give you another example for advanced learners. Arjuna. Everybody knows whatever the astra, whatever the weapon is available in the history, everything is known by Arjuna. He is the only person with that characteristic. Whereas Arjuna knows, except for Narayana Astra, all other astras, all other weapons he has learned and he has possessed. And that Arjuna, he has to learn even at the battlefield. He was sitting and he was learning Gita from Krishna. So it is not, you just have a look at that story, but the moral of the story is, till your end, you have to learn. And he is the best advanced learner. Arjuna is the best advanced learner because he could learn everything. And he is a lifelong learner. And now I would like to give you an example of the next gentleman. You can see a gentleman here. When he has taken up an examination in his degree, he was asked, just find out the height of a building using a barometer. The barometer is an instrument which will measure the pressure. So the answer for the question is, the person has to find out the pressure at the top of the building. He has to find out the pressure at the bottom of the building. He has to find out the difference, and that will be equated to the constant multiplied by height of the building. From the simple equation, the height of the building can be found out. So when such an equation, such a question is given, this fellow, he did not write the answer. Instead, what he has written is, I'll tie up the barometer with a twine. I will just put it down from the top of the building till it touches the ground. Then I will take the barometer again. I will measure the length of the string and I will measure the length of the barometer. The sum total will be the height of the building. Naturally, he was not given the pass. Whereas this fellow, he went for a revaluation. When he went for a revaluation, the same question was asked. because this fellow's claim was, you have asked me to use a barometer to measure the height of the building. I have used a barometer to measure it. So with this argument, he has gone for a revaluation and he was given a second chance. And in the examination, again the same question was asked. And this fellow was sitting and he was thinking for a long time. He was just thinking and thinking. And then the examiner, he became impatient. The time is running out. Don't you get even one single answer? That is the question by the examiner. Then this fellow said, no, I have got lot of learning, sir. Lot of answers, sir. Is it so? Okay, you just give me all your answers. Then I will just know the answers and then I will tell you whether you will be given a pass or fail. Or I will choose one answer from your many answers. This was the attitude of the examiner. Now this fellow, he said, okay, I'll just go to the back side of the building and I will take this barometer. Back side of the building will be plain without any elevation. So I will start measuring this barometer 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. And how many times the length has to be measured using a barometer? I'll just multiply by that with the length of the barometer so that I can find out the height of the building. Now he is perplexed. Then he said, is there any other answer? The examiner asked. And this fellow said, what I can do is, from the top of the building, I can drop the barometer down. This is a freely falling body. So S is equal to ut plus half gt square. So I can measure the time at which this will touch the ground. I know the initial velocity. I can easily calculate the height of the building. But the problem is the barometer will break down. Then the examiner is so tensed. Now he's asking for another answer. Is there any other answer you are having? This fellow said, yes, I'm having an answer. I can go to the owner of this building and I can ask him, what is the height of this building? Then examiner said, you have to use your barometer. Now the fellow thought. Then he said, okay, I have only one option left out. I will give you that option. I will measure the pressure at the top of the building. I will measure the pressure at the bottom of the building. I'll find the difference and equate it to the proportionality constant multiplied by the height of the building. From that, I can find out what will be the height of the building. Now the examiner is happy because he has given the correct answer. What will you say about this person? Will you call him a slow learner or will you call him a creative learner? Because this person bagged the Nobel Prize for Physics for finding out the atomic structure, and his name is Niels Bohr. So when you talk about Niels Bohr, whether he will be classified under slow learner or a creative learner, and ethical learning, if it is not in this country, where this ethical learning you can find out. So everything has been there. Then why do we need to go for your outcome-based education? Because when you are having outcome-based education, even if you are good, even if you are very well, even if you are, there will be some frictions when you are dealing with your individuals. Even the individual relationships, they are ruled out by certain expectations. Even if you are beautiful, even if you are very, very good, even if you are very accommodative and adjusting, you may not get along with your spouse or you may not get along with your colleague because their expectations are different. Maybe you may be thinking that speech is silver and silence is gold, whereas your partner may be expecting somebody who will be talkative and very, very interestingly talking person. And you may be of the nature with your colleague that if you do not understand my words, you will not understand, if you do not understand my silence, you will not understand my words. Whereas your colleague may be thinking you are totally not involved, you are indifferent, because she is expecting you to come out in open and she is expecting you to ask, should I help you in your work? Should I do something for you? All these expectations differ. When the expectations are different from the individuals, we do not get along. Then how a person, a 21-year-old son or daughter of student, my children, how they will get along in a corporate world, how if you cannot get along with face-to-face individual persons, if you cannot get along because you do not know their expectations, how a student can get along into a corporate world and how she or he can get himself or herself into that system. So that is way I have to be very, very specific in my program specific outcomes and program outcomes. So when I talk about program specific outcomes, these outcomes are specific to a program in addition to NBA defined POs, namely civil, mechanical, chemical, computer science, mathematics, or physics, etc. So an example of civil engineering can have PSOs as able to analyze and design building structural systems, able to provide design solutions to water supply and sewage systems, and able to identify and analyze transportation engineering problems and provide solutions for the benefit of the society. So now I come down to the course outcomes. So here, once I have decided what will be my specific program outcome, then overall outcome I have got. So the syllabus which I am going to fit in, that is the courses which I am going to include, that will be decided by the course outcomes. So what are the course outcomes? They are statements of observable student actions that serve as evidence of the knowledge, skills, and attitudes acquired in a course. And how to formulate these course outcomes? Each course is designed to meet course outcomes. You have to have at least 5 to 6 course outcomes. The course outcomes are stated in such a way that they can be actually measured. And POs are attained through program-specific core courses. And what are the structure of course outcomes? Your course outcome should have an action word and it should be followed by a learning statement. So example of good action words that include compile, identify, create, plan, revise, evaluate, outline, critique, predict, discuss, compute, use, prepare, demonstrate, etc. So you can just have a course outcome example of engineering physics to understand the knowledge of basic quantum mechanics, to understand the fundamental aspects of crystallography, to understand the role of free electrons in determining the properties of metals. So you can have 1 to 5 course outcomes are defined for engineering physics. As I told you, every course outcome, it should have an action verb followed by learning statements. Now, once you have defined a PO and once you have defined a CO, then you must have the assessment tools to finally decide the course outcomes are attained, program outcomes are attained, to check that I need certain assessment tools. So it is one or more processes that identify, collect, and prepare data to evaluate the achievement of course outcomes and program outcomes. So you are having certain direct tools and you are having some indirect tools also can be used to check whether the attainment of course outcomes and program outcomes are achieved. So what are the direct tools? In the direct tools, I can put tests, assignments, labs, seminars, industrial trainings, projects, etc. And indirect tools mostly are surveys. So in the surveys, you can have course end survey. You can just get a survey at the end of the course, exit survey. You can have faculty survey. You can have alumni survey, and secondary data. You can have the program statistics also. Is there any specific style of assessment and evaluation? Like teaching, there is no single specified style of teaching or assessment in OBE. Classes, opportunities, and assessment should all help students to achieve the specified outcomes. And here, when you are going in for the assessment and teaching under OBE, the role of the faculty adapts into instructor, trainer, facilitator, and are mentor based on the outcomes targeted. So when I say why I should assess and how I should assess and what is to be assessed, when you are making an assessment, the final objective is the attainment of the course outcomes and the attainment of program outcomes, the check work. That is why purpose of the assessment. So is there anything else why I have to assess my student? It is the starting point and prerequisite of an effective assessment task design. Assessment happens not simply because there is a need for grading students, but the key purpose is to improve students' learning by providing feedback. And how you can assess? You can assess students during the course, at the end of the course, at the beginning of the course, and whenever you want to do, you can choose appropriate assessment methods as and when required. And what you will be assessing. The content of assessment tasks should be aligned with the intended learning outcomes. From the student point of view, students learn what they think they will be tested on, and assessment may determine how students learn more than the curriculum does. So, what are the good practices that are to be adopted when you are going in for assessment? Definitely, you should have a very clear-cut idea of intended learning outcomes. You have to establish clear, measurable intended learning outcomes for students. And you have to formulate learning opportunities. You have to ensure that students have sufficient opportunities through learning activities to achieve those outcomes. And you have to assess student learning. Systematically, you have to gather, analyze, and interpret evidence to determine how well students' learning matches with your expectations. And above all, there should be a feed forward of results. Use the resulting information to understand and improve student learning. Normally, you have heard of feedback of results. Now, we are telling about feed forward of results. So, with your results, you have to tell your students what is to be done in future, whether he is ready for his career, whether he is ready in for the societal needs, whether he is having ethical values, whether he has the desire for self-learning, whether he is a creative learner, whether he has got a desire for lifelong learning. All these has to be assessed through your assessment techniques. So thus, again, the cyclic process in the assessment, you establish learning outcomes and provide learning opportunities, then assess student learning and use the results. And depending upon the results you have got, you just again go for establishing new learning outcomes. So here, students are given clear expectations of the intended learning outcomes and their roles in managing their learning. So you must be clear. The question you have to ask is, what do you expect students can learn after engagement in the course? And what should students do to meet your expectations? So these are the questions that a faculty member should ask himself or herself. And again, when I expect my students are engaged in meaningful learning activities, when I am testing it, or the activities I have designed for my students, is it relevant and effective in helping the students to achieve the intended learning? It is very important. Can students act upon your feedback for improvement? Is the feedback provided to students when it will matters to them? So each assessment should be tracked based on specific outcomes. Also map each outcomes with specific parts of the curriculum and assessments. And there has to be rubrics, that is methods, tools, and practice. And again, when I talk about rubrics, There are 14 assessment tools possible. Let me skip few of the tools and I will discuss only a minimum. Article and literature review, portfolios, reflective journals, case studies, posters, reports, concept map, practical experiments, short answer questions, essay, presentations, MCQs, open book exams and projects. Are you using all these 14 assessment tools? The question is the first one. The answer may be yes or the answer may be no. But are you using the right tool which is required for assessing the learning outcomes? And most of us, we are looking into short answer questions. We'll be going in for essay writing. We will be going in for MCQs and we will be going in for projects if it is included in your curriculum. And since COVID situation has evolved, now we are thinking of the possibility of conducting open book examinations. What about other cases? Are we encouraging our students to go in for article or literature review? Do we have any portfolios? Are we asking them to go for reflective journals, case studies, concept maps? A question that has to be pondered upon. And is it necessary for ensuring whether the intended learning outcome is achieved? Is this the right tool? So the choice of the right tool is the success of the evaluator. So I have summarized a few of the assessment tools, articles or literature reviews. An article or literature review is a critical review or report of existing knowledge on areas such as theories, critics, methodologies, research findings, assessment and evaluation on a selected topic. You can ask your student to go for a case study, and it is also a learning practice that shifts the emphasis from lecture-based activities towards more student-based activities. And you can give them a lot of open problems to study. And the concept map is a hierarchical form of structure diagram that illustrates conceptual knowledge and their relationship within a specific topic from general to specific concepts. And this can also be used as one of the assessment tools. Normally, this concept map is also known as a flow chart. And portfolios. A portfolio consists of evidence assembled to show how the student can meet specified learning outcomes or assessment criteria. And reflective journals. You can ask your student to formulate reflective journals because the student may be having lots of ideas like Neil Bohr. What are his ideas that can be brought into your reflective journals? So reflective journals are records of ideas, personal thoughts and experiences, as well as reflections and insights a student has in the learning process of a course. And you can ask the student to prepare a report, and everything, they are having their own advantages and disadvantages. Be it an open book exam, I have summarized a few of the advantages and disadvantages. For want of time, I'm just skipping reading out of this. You can just have a look at this. So, whenever you are going in for an assessment, it should not be very vague, and definitely there should be a rubric. So, what is a rubric? A rubric for assessment, usually in the form of a matrix or grade, is a tool used to interpret and grade students' work against criteria and standards. Rubrics are sometimes called criteria sheets or grading schemes or scoring guides. Rubrics can be designed for any content domain. It can be used to classify virtually any product or behavior such as essays, research reports, portfolios, works of art, recitals, oral presentations, performance, and group activities. It is not just that, okay, you just submit an essay on this particular topic. You can say one particular topic, and if the topic is written for 10 pages, I will give 10 marks. If it is written for 5 pages, I will give 5 marks. It should not be like that. And this rubrics will tell your student what is expected. See, if the total marks is 10, I will expect the content the content will be given 1 mark. The presentation will be given 1 mark. The references will be given 1 mark. And what is your own contribution, that will be given 1 mark. So like that, if I give them a clear-cut picture about how this assessment will be carried out and how his essay will be evaluated, and that guideline is nothing but your rubrics, and that is giving the faculty member as well as the student a very clear-cut idea of how an assignment or a test or an essay or a report or a concept map, it has to be evaluated, and accordingly the student can tune himself and the faculty members can be more objective. So how to use your rubrics with your students? You can make him to self-assess. Rubrics can help students self-improve if you encourage students to self-evaluate using the rubric before turning in their assignment. Also, for peer assessment, it can get students to work in pairs and evaluate each one's work. Ask them to compare the results of self and peer assessment and explain the reasons for the similarities and differences between the two. And then you can use rubrics with authority. Share with students the assessment results given by an expert and help them to develop an action plan for improvement from synthesizing all results and feedback. And use rubrics to generate quality feedback. For students, marked rubrics give students a clearer picture of their strengths and weaknesses than a few comments written on their papers or reports. So when giving comments or feedback, always use a rubric as a fundamental reference for your feedback. That is very important. You just don't write. It is vague. You have not included adequate points. Just tell your students the 10 relevant points will get you 2 points for the assignment submitted by them. So if you are giving them a clear-cut picture regarding what is expected out of their work, then automatically that will give them a very clearer picture of their strengths and weaknesses. Similarly, for teaching staff, rubrics improve feedback for teaching staff. I will know just for communication, 2 marks is awarded. For content, 2 marks is awarded. Third one, the presentation, 1 mark is awarded. Then I will know which of my student is having highly capable communicative skills and which of my student is a very creative content writer, and I can give the feedback to my student. So rubric will improve feedback for teaching faculty. And this rubrics, it must be transparent and spelled out clearly to both students and staff. It is just more than a table about the marks and criteria. It should serve as a guide in providing feedback to students on how well they have achieved the outcomes so far and what they can do if they would like to perform better. So the rubrics must be transparent. If you are going to give your student a quiz, if you are going to give your student a seminar, just tell them for 5 marks of this seminar, I am expecting these criteria. Criteria number 1, how confident you are present in presentation. Number 2, how well you are presenting it. Number 3, what is your content. Number 4, what is your explanation. So you just give your student what is your rubrics. So even if the seminar mark is just 5 marks, you just give what are the each 1 mark, how it will contribute for his assignment or for his seminar work. So you just tell your children, be transparent. And you have to establish the validity and reliability of rubrics. The quality of the rubric lies in its validity and reliability. Does the rubric reflect the learning outcomes? Is the rubric measuring the skills and competencies which learners are intended to develop? For a mathematics paper, you cannot give marks for language editing. Because, I mean, that is also required even for a mathematics paper, but it is having a lesser weightage. So when you are going for it, what is the intended learning outcome? Just you keep in mind, the numerical calculation is expected out of a mathematical student, whereas long essay writing with non-repeated words, that is expected from a English literature student. So you just think of the validity of your rubrics. The same rubrics cannot be applied for an English literature student and a mathematics student. So these rubrics should be fair to all the learners. And it should ensure whether the rubric is practical and feasible. You cannot give a rubric where if you do this, 0.1 mark will be awarded. Then if you do this, 0.2 marks will be awarded. And I will keep giving 100 criteria, and who will evaluate it? And how is it practically possible? So when you are allotting rubrics, when you decide upon your rubrics, you just think whether it is practically possible to give marks according to your rubrics and whether it is feasible. And if somebody else is going to assess, a different assessor, will he be able to award the same marks or grades to each student? So that validity and reliability has to be established in doing your rubrics. So once you have completed your assessment topic, now how you will be calculating your CO level. As discussed above, the internal exam questions must be mapped to their COs, and this helps us to list the marks obtained by the students for CO in the, I'll show you the image. Rubrics helps us to define the threshold through which level of attainment of a COs are calculated. Rubrics are a simple way to set up some grading criteria through which level of attainment is calculated by using some predefined values. Now you may be wondering, இப்பதானே rubrics பத்தி சொல்லி முடிச்சாங்க, இப்ப மறுபடியும் எதுக்கு rubrics பத்தி பேசுறாங்க? Rubrics are a simple way to set up some grading criteria through which level of attainment is calculated by using some predefined values. Because the rubrics I was discussing is corresponding to the performance of the student. Now the rubrics I am talking about is with relevant to my attainment of course outcomes. So how the assessment can be aligned to COs, and from COs how it can be aligned to POs. I will just give you an example. Again, I'll just take the example and then I'll go for the general studies. Now, PO1, I am just taking, it is the engineering knowledge. Apply the knowledge of mathematics, science, and engineering fundamentals and an engineering specialization to the solution of complex engineering problems. And my CO3, able to understand mixed proportioning techniques for field applications. And my assessment question in test, briefly explain the various methods of mixed proportioning techniques. Does this CO reflects the intended measurement from PO1? எங்கெங்க maths வந்தது? Does the assessment correlates well with the CO? So this CO does not reflect the intention of measuring application of either science, maths or engineering principles. It can measure only remembrance in this topic. Further, the assessment does not test the requirement of application of engineering principles used in mixed proportioning as per PO1. Hence, the correlation between CO and PO is weak. See, now I have 12 POs. I have 5 COs. Now, this CO3 I have checked with PO1. Now I find the CO3 PO1 correlation is very weak. Now I'll just take PO2. Identify, formulate, review research literature and analyze complex engineering problems reaching sustained conclusions using first principles of mathematics, natural sciences and engineering sciences. And now I'll just consider again CO3. Able to apply mixed proposition principles to design a concrete mix for field applications. Now the question in the test, I will just give it proportion a concrete mix for M40 grade concrete by IS method. And I'll just give them some required data. Now, you just the mapping or the mapping matrix, which I'm now worried about is there any correlation between CO3 and PO2? Is CO reflects the intended measurement from PO2? Thus, the assessment correlates well with the CO. So, in this case, the assessment does not test the student's ability to identify, formulate, and do some research for arriving at a suitable concrete mix. It is not expecting him to do some research. Since the strength of the mapping of CO3 for PO2 in the example cannot be considered good. So at best, it can map well with PO1 as it involves application of engineering fundamentals. Again, we just consider a third situation, PO3, design development of solutions. And you just go for CO3, able to analyze is the keyword, able to analyze characteristics of mixed constituents and design a concrete mix for field applications. Again, in the assessment, I have given one test. Is this CO reflects the intended measurement from PO to PO3? Does the assessment correlates well with the CO? So now I am worried about CO3 in connection with PO2 and PO3. In this case, students are expected to identify and formulate various design parameters such as type of cement, which can be used for early strength gain, water content, workability required to manufacture such precast elements, etc. They are also required to look for specifications as per the codal provisions and then apply engineering principles. Therefore, the assessment correlates well with the CO and hence maps strongly for PO2 and PO3. See, in the previous cases, that is not mapped with PO2 and PO1, whereas here, this course outcome is strongly mapped for PO2 and PO3. Hence, when you summarize this, you can just write. Now, don't worry about the calculations. At the final outcome, how this calculations will be given, I am just giving you a glimpse. And how this will be calculated will be shown to you shortly. So, based on that, you can just have an average, whether CO1, how much point, because here the grading is made on 3-point scale. And what is the distribution? So what is the average grading and what is the course outcome CO1? What is the average grading? And you can have a comparative study. So this CO-PO relationship, it is given in a matrix. Each CO can be identified to address a subset of POs. Based on the number of COs and the sessions dedicated to them, it is possible to identify the strength of the mapping to POs, 1 or 2 or 3. And based on these strengths of selected POs, a CO matrix can be established. Now, when I talk about the strength of the mapping, the CO to PO, and should the strength be defined as 1, 2, and 3 alone? It's not so. For measuring PO, in direct method, a CO-PO matrix is used. The COs are linked to the PO using the CO versus PO matrix as stated in course syllabus blueprint. When designing the CO, lecturers of each course map their CO to the appropriate PO to ensure that all PO are delivered throughout the study. Now, define the CO weightage for a PO in CO-PO matrix. The weightage scale can be of any format, 1 to 10, 1 to 100. So, as I told you, the weakness, there you have to have a rubrics. How well it is mapped. So for that, you can say, if this is mapped to this extent, I will award 1 point. Otherwise, the strength will be given 2 points, 3 points, 4 points. Like that, you can go up to 100 or you can stop with 10. But mostly, we go for using the scale 1 to 3 because that will simplify our calculations. So there is no hard and fast rule that we have to go only for 1 to 3 scale. But when the correlation between the CO and PO is very strong, then I will award 3 points. When this correlation is medium, I will award 2 points. When the correlation is very low, I will award 1 point. So the assessments should be in alignment with the COs. Question paper should be so set to assess all COs. The average marks obtained in assessments against items for each CO will indicate the CO attainment. And the instructors can set targets for each CO of his or her course, and attainment gaps can therefore be identified, and the instructor can plan to reduce the attainment gaps or enhance attainment targets. See, the last three, now for the time being, we will leave out. Now we have done the assessment. So how the CO attainment can be calculated? For that, I'll give you just 2 steps. You can calculate CO level for internal and external examinations. The marks obtained by students for each CO in an exam are listed out as shown in the below figure. It's not below figure, it is given in the next slide. Based on the weightage allocated, maximum marks CO wise for the COs in the examination. Whatever the marks he has scored, that marks I have just put. Level of CO attainment is based on the percentage of the students above the threshold percentage. See here, I have taken just 4 students. The first student in test 1, in CO1, he has scored 30 marks. Second student has scored 25 marks. Third student has got 10 marks. Fourth student has got 14 marks. So the number of students attended in test 1, that is equal to 4. And maximum marks course wise, CO wise, the maximum marks that can be obtained is only 50. So 50 marks can be awarded to CO1 and 50 marks can be awarded to CO2 in test 1. And CO3, CO4, CO5, I have not given any question at all in my test 1. So this is blank. I have not given anything. Whereas here, 50 marks maximum and 50 marks for CO2. And now I have given a rubrics. Now what I am saying, if 50% of the student have scored above 50%, then it is only low. If 60% of the students have scored above 50%, then I say CO attainment is medium. And if it is 70% of the students have scored above 50% of the marks, then it is high. Okay. So here I have set the threshold limit to be 50%. If you are getting a creamy student, if your institution is extremely well, then you can change this threshold level to even 70%. So if 50% of the student is, so it is just raising your target level. You can raise your target level to 70%. So how many percentage of the students have scored above the threshold level? So this threshold level, that is determined by the course instructor and it is approved by the head of the department, and that is approved further. It is forwarded to the controller of the examination, board of studies, academic. So this is decided internally. So when it is 50% of the student above 50%, it is only low. Now you just have a look at this marks. So maximum mark is 50, right? So how many students have scored above the threshold? Only 2 students, because 50% it is. So out of 50, if the person has scored 25 and above, then it comes under 50%. So this first student and the second student, both of them have scored above 50%. So 2 students have scored above the threshold. Only 2 students have scored above the threshold level. Therefore, your rubrics is, as per your rubrics, it is low. So I'm just giving 1 mark to this CO1. Now I just take up the CO2. In CO2, you just have a look. The marks scored are 40, 37, 30, 20. So above 50%, again here the maximum mark is 50. So 50, 25 and above, how many students have scored? 1, 2, 3 students have scored above the threshold level. So this is 3. So 75% of the students have scored marks more than 50%. Therefore, here as per my rubrics, this is very high. So I am awarding 3. I hope I'm making it clear to all of you. So this is the way I have given CO1, CO2, CO3 for test 1. And I'm assuming that for the internal examination, I will be conducting 2 tests and 1 model examination. So for the test 1, I will be just asking questions because the student is new to the subject. The questions level will be limited to CO1 and CO2. And for test 2, I will be limiting it to CO3, CO4 and CO5. Whereas in model examination, the assessment will be based on all the 5 course outcomes, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And how many students they have got it and what should be the threshold value and how the marks can be awarded. And in the university examination also, the same procedure is adopted. And again, should I give the same weightage? That is again a question which is to be answered by the course creators. So if you want to give different weightage to CO1, CO2, CO3, see for example, CO1 can be given lesser weightage. CO2 will be given more weightage. Then that too can be incorporated in your rubrics. Sorry. So this is what I have explained this already. Now, once I have decided that, now I will be going in for this mapping, CO-PO mapping. So CO1 attainment in view of PO1, it is just 1. Whereas CO1 attainment in view of PO3 is 2. I will just complete this matrix with respect to all my program outcomes and program specific outcomes. Here, assuming that I'm having 5 course outcomes and 10 program outcomes and 3 program specific outcomes, I am just marking the relationship. From this table, it should be understood that it is not necessary that CO1 should be in complete strong relationship with all the program outcomes. So there may be a 0 for CO1 to PO2, 0 for CO1 to PO6. They may not be correlated. This course outcome may not satisfy or may not contribute to the program outcome 6, program outcome 8, like that. Whereas it is weakly contributing to PO1. Whereas it is a contribution to PO3 is medium. Then CO1 contribution to PO7 is very strong. That is why I have given it as 3. It is just an example of how to formulate this CO-PO matrix. So I have just completed this for one course. You just consider this course to be C102. Then CO1, CO2, CO3, CO4, CO5, I have just put it here. 3, 2, 0, 0. So if this is the value, then for one course, I have to just find out just average. So I'll 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. I'll just add everything, divide by. Now 5 course outcomes are there. So for this particular subject, C102, corresponding to PO1, I'm getting the value as 3. Whereas you just consider this PO2, if the values are 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, then add all these 5 values and divide by 5, which will come down to 2.20. So likewise, I have just put all the average values for C102. This C102 is not the course outcome. It is the subject code of the subject which I am dealing with. So for that, corresponding to PO1, PO2, PO3, etc., I have just calculated it. Now, again, I have given one more row, CO attainment, which is given as a different value, 2.97, 2.18, 2.22. Wherefrom I am arriving at this particular value. Now I have to go for, again, I have to switch over to this sheet. So in the sheet, for this C101, test 1, test 2, models, and these 3 will contribute to your internals. Then some of the internals I will just find out, and there will be a university according to rubrics. For university examination also we have given some values ranging from 1 to 3, right? So now here it is 1, test 2, models, and this internal component like the seminars, quiz, etc. you would have given. So all these values put together, that is the sum of the internal marks. So 1 plus 3 plus 3, you just divide and you will be coming down to 2.33. And 3, these values, again I have given only averages. Again and again I am repeating, this need not, all the values need not be given the same weightage. Here for easy calculation and for easy understanding, all are given equal weightage. Everywhere I have used the value 1. And if you want to give different weightage, the formula is little different, which once you have mastered this, you can go for that. So internal university attainments, this I have found out it as 2.87, and here this average I have found out. For from the university examination, it is 3.0. Now, again, this 2.87, it is average of all these values, 2.33 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 divided by 5. And similarly here it is all the 5 values are added together and divided by 5. If your course outcome is 6, then you will have one more column. So 6 values will be added and that will be divided by 6 and so on. So now I have got 2.87 as the attainment internally for this particular course C101. That value is taken as 2.87. And in the university examination, the attainment is 3.0. Now, both internal values and the external end semester examination will not be given equal weightage. Therefore, what I am doing is I am just putting the internal weightage as 20% and end semester examination weightage is 80%. Just multiply 2.87 by 20 and divide by 100. You will get the value of course attainment for the subject to be 0.57. Similarly, in the university examination, internal attainment is 3, weightage is 80%. The more weightage is given to the end semester examination. If you want to ensure a continuous performance for your student, then this can be changed as 40% and 60%. Even you can go for 60% weightage to your internal marks and 40% weightage to your end semester examination. Accordingly, if this is 60, 2.87 will be multiplied by 60 divided by 100. That will change this value. So what is the course outcome attainment for the subject? Internally, I have calculated. Then from the end semester examination, I have calculated it is 2.40. Then I have sum up. So final course attainment for the subject, that is given as 2.97. Like this, for each and every course, you have to calculate the final course attainment. Next, once you have completed the course attainment, you have calculated that, then I will go for this attainment of program outcomes. This is done by two methods. One is direct method, the another one is indirect method. So in the first, I'll go with the indirect method because that is much easier. Then indirect method calculation of attainment, PO attainment, is purely survey oriented. So the calculations are based on data and surveys collected from the following: current passing out students, stakeholders, alumni, survey from placement officers. And again, the questions in the survey sheet should represent the POs. All these survey needs to be a quantified one, like 1, 2, 3. They must be based on predefined levels like rubrics defined for direct calculation. Now I'll give you a sample rubrics for indirect calculation. Now I have collected a survey. So if 60% of the people are giving above 3, then it is low. If 70% of the people are giving above 3, then it is medium. If 80% of the people are satisfied by my PO, then it is high. So this is the rubrics I have set for my PO. Whereas again, this can be changed. Instead of 60%, you can even go for 20%, 40%, and 50%. So whatever is the rubrics, depending upon your situation, depending upon your objective, you can set your rubrics. And you can modify your rubrics at any one point of time. So I have conducted a survey. So you see, current passing student, he has given it as current passing student. For PO, he has given 3. Alumni has given 3. Placement officer also have given 3. So this program attainment, add everything and divide by 3. PO2, the current passing student, he has given 2, alumni has given 2, and the placement officer has given 2. Just find out the average. Again, that is equal to 2. Now here, passing student has given only 1. Alumni has given 2. Placement officers are giving 3. So you just add 3 plus 2 plus 1 divided by 3. So you will get 2. For PO4, 1 plus 1 plus 2 divided by 3, that value is equal to 1.33. So how much ever, whatever may be your PO, whether it is 1 to 12, for everything you just calculate PSO1, PSO2, PSO3. If you are having more numbers, you can add more columns, and that is for everything indirect program attainment values. You can just find out from your rubrics. See, here this value will be given individually by the student. So there I have given him a rubrics just for the questionnaire. So individual student will assign 3 marks, 2 marks, 1 mark. And then for the indirect PO attainment, this consolidation, for that also I have a separate rubrics, that is the previous one. That is more than 60% of the, if I have given the questionnaire to 100 members, at least 60 members should have given the value as 3. Only then I can assign 1 mark. If 70% of them have given 3, then I can assign 2 marks. So this is the way these values are given. So here we are going with 2 rubrics. One rubric is adopted by the respondents, and here this rubrics is by the assessor. Now the indirect program attainment is calculated by using this formula. Indirect program attainment equal to sum of the levels of attainment of a PO divided by 3. So for example, to calculate indirect program attainment for PO1, PO1 attainment is, I'll just add everything 3 plus 3 plus 3, which I have already explained. So in direct method, there using survey we have done. So in direct method, how this PO attainment is calculated? Already we have found out the CO attainment, and here the program attainment equal to average of COs of a PO divided by 3, because we are using a 3-point scale. If you are using a higher point scale, then this number will get changed. This is multiplied by final CO attainment for the subject. For example, there you remember we have received the CO attainment as 2.97. So this 2.97, which is equal to average of CO for POs, that is 3 divided by 3 into 2.97. So PO attainment for PO1 is 2.97. So here PO attainment, this value already we have got, direct, indirect. So it is 2.57, 2.47, 2.35, like that if you are getting a value by the direct method. And for the indirect method, if it is 3, 2, etc. Now again you have to fix the weightages. For the direct method, I will fix a weightage of 80%. For the indirect method, I am fixing a weightage of 20%. And again, it can be revised. If you want, for the direct method, you can give 50% weightage, and for indirect weightage, indirect method also you can give 50% weightage. So this is again decided by the internal committee. So here, by the direct method, we have calculated the value as 2.57. Then this has to be multiplied by 80%. So since we are giving 80% weightage, so this is multiplied by 80 divided by 100, which is giving you 2.05. And for the indirect method, 3. So 3 multiplied by 20%, it is coming out as 0.60. And the PO attainment is 2.65. So even if by the indirect method, the PO attainment is said to be 3, finally, we are coming down to this calculation. PO attainment is 2.65. So now we are coming to the concluding part of this. So you can close this everywhere. When you think of this PO, CO attainment, you can see this program objective, this program is having 1.97. So what you can do is, for PO5 and PSO1 1.97, PSO2 1.93, should we do something? What shall we do? So to satisfy a high, to get a higher PO attainment, because we are fixed with our POs. So to go for a higher attainment, we will revamp our curricula to include a different subject, different course, for example. So different course, and there we will be going in for different teaching learning methods, and then we will be going in for different assessment method till we reach the desired PO attainment. So all attainment analysis is made to provide continuous improvement through either in course delivery, assessment, and curriculum. And depending on the attainment levels, we will improve the strategy to either improve the attainment level or we will raise the target level. That is also possible. Maybe you are not happy with the marks you have attained for PO1. It is just 2.61. Why don't I go for 2.85? So that is also possible. So either you will try to improve your strategy to improve the attainment level, or you can raise the target level. And you will be going in cycles of continuous improvement, and you cannot be complacent. And always you have to strive towards excellence. With this, I thank all the organizers for having given me the opportunity, and thank the participants for your patient listening, because I am running out of time. But still, I could not complete before this. Thank you very much for your patient listening, and thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Your lecture on the topic attainment of outcome will help our academicians go the extra mile, ma'am. Thank you so much. Ma'am,
Yeah.
ma'am, there
Thank
is
you.
some.
Yeah. Any
Yes, ma'am.
question, queries?
Yes, ma'am. There is some questions in the comment box.
Please.
Shall I read, ma'am?
Yeah, please.
This question raised by Vijay Kumar Kandasamy. Any
Yeah.
numbers restriction to create PEO, PSO, and PO?
No. No, definitely no. I was repeatedly telling you there is no restrictions on POs, COs. It is preferable to have 5 to 6 COs. It is preferable. I'm again using words. There is no hard and fast rules regarding this construction of POs, COs. Everything has to be decided by the institution.
Thank you, ma'am. And
Yeah.
one more question from Johi Chaturvedi. Ma'am, can you please explain bottom-up approach with an example?
That's what. See, always we start from the administrative point of view. From administrators, then we come to the HODs level, then we come to the, from administrators, principals, deans, HODs, and then faculty members, then we go to the student. In the bottom approach, you do the reverse process. You start from anybody. From the society you go, and then you go up and you have a discussion. You collect the data from the students, you collect the data from the corporate world, you collect the data from the faculty members, and you have a discussion at the faculty level, and then you represent it to your head of the department, and then from the head of the department you can go to your dean academics, and then principal, then academic council, and likewise also you can go.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Gratitude is the open door to abundance. I would like to call Mrs. Y. Prasanna, Head Department of Commerce with Computer Application, to propose vote of thanks.
Good afternoon to all. Feeling gratitude and not expressing it is like wrapping a present and not giving it. We, SNMV College of Arts and Science, extremely proud to have Dr.K.Sumathi as Associate Professor and Head Department of Mathematics, PSGR Krishnammal College for Women's, Coimbatore, the resource person on 4 days fourth day of 7 days faculty development program. She has been spoken about attainment of outcome. Ma'am, your lecture will help us to buckle down the goals and get started with what we explore all avenues open to us in the field of academics. My first and foremost thank to our principal sir, Dr. B. Subramani, for his valuable guidance. Thank you, sir. I would like to thank our management members for their support in all the endeavors. I'm extending my gratitude to IKAC Coordinator and Head Department of Mathematics with CA, Mrs. Kaunti Karnaharan, for her effort to organize 7 days faculty development program. I would like to thank Dean Languages and Head Department of English, Dr. Manjula Suresh, and our distinguished Director, Dr. Krishnammal, SNME Institute of Management. Let me not forget to extend my gratitude to Almighty for this successful day. Finally, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to our technical team of SNMB CAS, all the department heads, faculty members, and participants from various places. Once again, I thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. Build your life on your dreams because dreams never end. Tomorrow, FTP program will start at 11 a.m. on the topic National Educational Policy 2020 Perspectives and Prospects. Lecture by Dr. R. Muthalilan, Controller of Examination, AMET, Chennai. This is an announcement for the participants. Participants, kindly click the link that's already dropped in the comment box. And kindly subscribe our YouTube channel, SNMVCast Coimbatore, for the further information. Once again, this is an announcement for the participants. Kindly click the link and fill the feedback form. It's already dropped in the comment box. And kindly subscribe our YouTube channel, It's Vikesh Coimbatore, for the further information. Thank you all.